I want to welcome you road trippers to this episode of May's Ways. I'm Kevin, and we're in downtown Wilmington, Delaware. We're on Walnut Street, south of town, just crossing the Christina River. If you pan to the left, you can see where the Riverwalk starts over on the other side of the Market Street Bridge. We've just gotten back from going across the Delaware Memorial Bridge to New Jersey and back, and now we're going to make a loop through downtown, so be sure to pan around and get a good look at the city as we go through. As we make our way up Walnut Street, we are following the northbound lanes for Business Route US 13, and as we reach this corner of 4th Avenue, to the right is the Wilmington Police Department. The police department has 319 sworn officers, and it traces its beginnings to 1739. Wilmington is Delaware's largest city, having a population of just over 70,000. The city sits just 33 miles from Philadelphia, but there's no mistaking that Wilmington has developed into its own independent business and cultural center, separate from that of Philadelphia. Over 1 million businesses are registered in the state of Delaware, due largely to favorable tax laws, and over 300,000 of those are registered at a single location here in downtown Wilmington, over on North Orange Street. Not coincidentally, the Wilmington Bankruptcy Court is one of the busiest ones in all of the nation. We raised more than a few eyebrows when we told people we were coming to Delaware for vacation. The pervading question was, why? But now, having been to Wilmington and Delaware, I can tell you I was pleasantly surprised. For starters, compared to all the bustle we encountered in Philadelphia, it's tranquil here. Traffic had thinned out immensely by the time we hit the state line, and we had no trouble getting into downtown. Second, everything is so close. Sure, other cities like Philly and Baltimore and DC aren't that far away, and neither are the beaches, but anything you want to do within Wilmington is just a few minutes away. Brandywine has a couple of parks and walking trails and the zoo. It was very beautiful out there. We enjoyed taking our time on the Riverwalk. One of our favorite things to do was the Hagley Museum, which was a property owned by the DuPonts in the 19th century. The property was used a lot to make gunpowder, and you can tour the various buildings that were used, and the rail system that they had built is very interesting to see. And again, it was so close, maybe 15 minutes. Meanwhile, I think downtown is like a lot of other downtowns of big cities. Parts of town have clearly been revitalized, others are boarded up, and there's a mix of modernization with 19th and early 20th century architecture. Here at 11th Street, we're about to enter Rodney Square. The first notable building that you'll notice is on the right is the DuPont building. Built in 1913, it housed the DuPont headquarters up until 2015. The building also houses the historic Hotel DuPont, which served as my home away from home for my 2 nights in Wilmington. Rodney Square is named for American Revolutionary leader Cesar Rodney and is commemorated by a statue in this square, or should I say was commemorated. You can see the pedestal there in front of the DuPont building, but no statue. Next up on the right, as we pass through this light at 10th Street, is the Wilmington Public Library, which was built in 1922. And here at 9th Street, as we get around these buses, we find the IRS Center on the left, and on the right is that U.S. bankruptcy court that is kept so busy by all those registered Delaware corporations. Coming up on the right after this curbside sign is the Grand Opera House. This theater was built in 1871 by the Delaware Grand Lodge of Masons to be their Masonic temple. It was home to operas and symphonies and other shows until about 1930 when it became a movie theater. That closed in 1967 and the building underwent some restoration, and now it's harkened back to its classical days, holding exhibitions for the Delaware Symphony Orchestra, Opera Delaware, and the First State Ballet Theater. Here at this corner, we get another view of the library here on the right, and across the intersection to the left, the DuPont building. We were here on a weekend, and let me tell you, it was quiet. The city was just beginning to re-emerge from the pandemic as businesses were reopening, curfews were lifted, and restrictions were generally being relaxed. So I'm not entirely sure if that played a part in a lack of crowds or if it's just always like that on the weekend. One benefit we liked from that, though, was the ability to park on the street for free. We parked less than a block from our hotel, and we easily walked to a couple different places for dinner while we were there. You will have to feed the meter if you're there during the week, though, and those spots might not actually be there. That's going to do it for our drive through downtown. The next part of our trip is going to take us to Rehoboth Beach by way of Newcastle and Dover. So click that subscribe button so you'll get notified when those videos come out. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and come back soon. I want to thank you for joining us here at May's Ways. We'll see you again.